Yeah, yo, dressed in all black in the dark, camouflaged by the night. All the lights in the house are off now, and I'm grabbing onto my knife. The back door is unlocked, my mask is on, I'm inside. My freezer needs to be stocked, I'm stabbing all who's inside. So I move in, scan all the rooms, she's all alone like I assume. She's dying soon, but not too quick, I'ma take my time, I'm in a violent mood. Raid the kitchen, fuck buying food, don't need the meat, she'll supply it soon. I'm on a diet, it's skinny bitches, I'm eating healthier, I'm trying to. She never stood a chance, she never stood up. After I severed vertebrae, red was squirting, her death was certain. Obsessed with murdering every person, don't ever trust me, I bet I'm worse than the best immersion. Expert working in the field of bringing death to persons, but I murk 'em.
Watch me put on a clinic, I did it for all who dig it. Nothing but raw, explicit, a visually scarring image. What makes you want to live in that body? You're non-existent. Let me put this knife in your skin and take you to a level we all will visit.
With a massive sword of sorts, seen her at the back of the corridor, wishing that she had some boarded doors, but of course it was too late, and I already chose her fate. Closed that gate, seen that fear all up on her face, until her brain sprayed from a flawless blade. Sick-minded, demented, that I mentioned, bipolar, prone to get vengeance, feeling happy deep down when I hear the chainsaw start with a red like brin brin, and I really wanna end it, but I've been caught up putting little kids in detention. It's so easy to me, like a sixth sense in the river, bodies get tossed like a pigskin. She was deep asleep when I went into a room and got beneath the sheets. I just spooned her, I just laid next to her in the bed, shaking while I beat my meat. I'm just lonely, I just want somebody to hold me while I'm rubbing it and need to ski. It's okay, babe, I don't really wanna hurt you, I wanna coerce you to be with me. She wasn't into it, I guess, cause she tried to run up out of the room, but I'm quicker than a bitch. She got thrown back quick like a Michelin S, took the knife and I stuck it to her chest. Didn't really wanna take it here, babe, but it seems like we can never make this right. So I plunged it in and it pulled it out, the blood sprayed while I drained her life.
Motherfuckers blown up on the ground, bro. This be the sound
Dead awakened within this formal tragedy, combined with hollow stairs. The blast is gone unheard for an eternity. The silence buries its drown, going nowhere. Pull the curtain over my dead eyes to find the empathy. This all this are leaving. Too long ago, too many lives have been cheated. There's a putting the pieces back. It's been a waste, all this bleeding for nothing. I cannot see the saw me coming, though I was right here. They ain't looking for nothing, they find the nightmare. When the sunlight dims and the dark shows through, and the shadows start dancing around the room, it's too late. We hope that you enjoy your stay.
All of a sudden, now the motherfuckers screaming, we were boys saying shit like I'm a OG, I've been mobbing low-key since back in 2003. But I recall back then, it was pretty much me and like 10 fans didn't even have a CD. Yet these cats wanna claim shit, saying we the same clique, saying that they knew low-key before the fame hit. Call me a superstar, bitch breaking fucking arms, bash you in the fucking mouth. Man, what the fuck you talking about? Claiming that you fuck with me, but not with the music, as if I'd even be human if you try to remove it, cause every day I wake up into this. Fuck yeah, I'm living it, breathing the fire, spit it on my fingertips. And I'm joined by the night, call a battle clan, now I'm here to tell you all, welcome to Shadowland.
Down in the darkness, I stayed for decades. Now these motherfuckers ride the wave like jet skis. They get a big head and feel great with 10 plays on their SoundCloud page and think they the next craze. It's funny how they clueless and they sounding like manure. I can see right through them, I'ma shut them down like they computer. Cause the physics shit, they flow through my medulla since age 5. I've been working all day and night and I can't lie. I'm seeing all these fish up in the sea and I'm a great way. And I can hear the chitter chatter babble through the grapevine. I was ripping shows up while you was having stage fright. And I can tell you sweet and salty kinda like a take 5. Lay down and get the fuck out the way. Underground like a centipede I'm hunting. I keep crawling through the night until the end of my days when I attack it.
It's like they never saw me coming, though I was right here. They ain't looking for nothing, they find the nightmare. When the sunlight dims and the dark shows through, and the shadows start dancing around the room, it's too late. We hope that you enjoy your stay.
Of the life and dim light, you say you stand around but you cannot fight. Do not move, we're in tune, we're immersed by your doom. Yeah, it's going down. Here's for the wicked shit, but this is all we know to make a heart sink down far beyond the flow with the ones that you keep close. Not need rely on the hopes and the banner, but praying the powers ascending to honor, but not because bastard of the shadows to follow. But we are the ones that got you to knowledge. To be the bad guy you know you need. Follow us to a land time that you never see. Follow us upon every step we take, your soul will resonate. We are legion and that one.
It's like they never saw me coming, though I was right here. They ain't looking for nothing, they find the nightmare. When the sunlight dims and the dark shows through, and the shadows start dancing around the room, it's too late. We hope that you enjoy
Time and time again, they try to hold me down. They try to tell me that I won't be anything. They try to tell me I'm a fuck up, that I'm garbage. And I just smile, cause you're witnessing the rise of a motherfucking king. Yeah. Hallucinations of horror haunting my horrid mind. Simulated senses satisfied by scenes of brutal crime. I wanted to give this bitch my knife tip, but by the way she's screaming and moaning, I could tell that she fucking liked it. I've been waiting for the right fit and the right time to cut the lights and leave these motherfuckers lifeless. I've been loving life, well, lifeless. See, I'm a psycho, but hey, yo, I digress. And I just digest all of your innards. I'm a sicko and I'm gathering up food for the winter. I'm the bringer of pain and I am the master of splinters. I'm the shredder of flesh inside of the sewer of sickness. I will gather your blood in barrels to dump them in the river. Make a cleansing of crimson, create a sea of forgiveness. I don't gotta dream about it cause I live this. A nightmare every day and it be endless. I pen these thoughts down on loose leaf, won't ever lose sleep now. Watch me creep through the shadows like a cool freak. Skippy Yickum got the game on lock. You just got a new neighbor, now this ain't your block. Cause I've been dealing with some pent-up aggression. I took the curse that I was given and turned it into a blessing. All my anger and hatred mixed with sorrow and depression into each and every sentence. Use my music as my weapon. They try and tell me that I'm merely a waste, till I climbed out of the sewer spitting shit in their face. Till I climbed out of these ruins and I laid them to waste. Using hate as motivation, it was fuel for the race. And now I'm first place, and I be flying in my own lane. Fans wanting pictures of me, you was still a known name, and you was still a broke lame. Isn't it funny how the tides change, motherfucker? I'm one of the dopest out, no need to scream and shout. I've earned my clout, y'all think different, shut your fucking mouth. Cause here's my thesis, I'm just like Jesus for letting myself down, for believing these people could conceive this. Life full of better lands, I'm not a better man, I'm just the seed of sin, I'm bracing for the end, you'll never breathe again. I be coming with the switchblade army, got the skin tight gloves and the all black hoodie, cause I'm ready to wreck this shit. I'm making my own exodus, subjected to the fact that I'm a slave to my own deficit. Deaf to all these thoughts because I really can't connect with them. Connecting is the method that I use when I'm subjecting them. A bright flash in the land of the dead, a beautiful butterfly I lured into my web. I sweet talked you, honey, now you're lying on my bed. Well, I'm about to pound you till you're crying, cause I'm fucked in the head. There's no turning back, cause if my mind says do it, it's like 30 seconds later I'm gonna get right to it. I try to block it out, I try to turn the volume down, but all these voices screaming at me, now they're getting way too loud. I'm blinded, I'm lost inside this dark haze. So much rage, I be stuck in my old ways. I need to try to find a piece of joy, like when I stand against opponents and I leave them destroyed. Because they try and tell me that I'm merely a waste, till I climbed out of the sewer spitting shit in their face. Till I climbed out of these ruins and I laid them to waste. Using hate as motivation, it was fuel for the race. And now I'm first place, and I be flying in my own lane. Fans wanting pictures of me, you was still a known name, and you was still a broke lame. Isn't it funny how the tides change, motherfucker?
Everything is dark around me. I'm lost in the deep end, trying hard to swim, but I sink. Nowadays the shadows follow, and I cannot get away from the hate, away from the pain, and everything in between. So I drink. Hey, I don't understand why they tossing me roses. The last thing I remember was calling your phone. Ay. Then I woke up in the pool of darkness. I've been talking to spirits, I wanna come home. Where were you when I needed you? Why did you have to let go? I'm sorry if I mistreated you. It made you feel so low. I'm dark and I'm cold, I'm terrified. This place ain't give me no peace of mind. Didn't even get to look in your eyes and say goodbye for a while. Ended it all. overdose. I called for help, you ignored it. 2 a.m. in the morning, you silence your phone. So how does it feel now I'm not coming home? Send me all the black roses, coins for the ride. It's so hard to stay alive when you dead inside. All that I wanted was some peace of mind, but this place ain't home, there's no peace inside. I said all that I wanted was some peace of mind, but this place ain't home, there's no peace inside. Cause everything is dark around me. I'm lost in the deep end, trying hard to swim, but I sink. And nowadays the shadows follow and I cannot get away.
Yeah. Laying on my back, looking at the sky, contemplating why I'm feeling like I'd rather die. If there's any reason that I found to stay within this life, it's gotta be my daughter. Gotta never leave a fucking side. Word is born. I go to war for her and all that. This is real, this is nothing that you all rap. If you touch it, then I guarantee it's all bad. Cause I snap back, so I ain't talking about a ball cap. Fucker, y'all just suckers and I'm harboring souls. My approach is the same as Dr. Marvin Monroe. Sharp therapy and swearing we are not even close. David Carradine couldn't hang if I showed in the pros. Got a bitch that's insane, so she got my vote. Similar to these, that's the way she got on the pole. Drinking liquor like it's water and I'm out of control. The Mona Lisa wouldn't smile if she looked at my soul.
Feeling like there's no shame running through these cold veins. Can't feel my soul, I'm out of touch and feel no pain. And I've been thinking that I'm ready to die. No big deal. Can't leave, I still got plenty of life. I can't be killed. Like there's no shame running through these cold veins. Can't feel my soul, I'm out of touch and feel no pain. And I've been thinking that I'm ready to die. No big deal. Can't leave, I still got plenty of life. You'll never kill me.
But I'm feeling like I'm guilty. No rest is the best that I will be. I got demons that progress while I'm welting. So my death will invest in it well-being. No stress, I'll impress if it kills me. Chop the screw, that's the style that I will bring. Homicidal necrophilia, fulfill me, bitch. Cause I'm fucking killing the way you ever rebelled. And after going against me, no defense, and you can see what's still it. And you know it can't be understand that you proceed to jealous. But you won't offend me, no, not any rapper has a skeleton. So they break fast like cheating during Ramadan. When I perform my book, magic like the Necronomicon. Ripping at the flows, yes, you know that it goes on and on. Kevin Gates on stage, I kick it for the audio.
Feeling like there's no shame running through these cold veins. Can't feel my soul, I'm out of touch and feel no pain. And I've been thinking that I'm ready to die. No big deal. Can't leave, I still got plenty of life. I can't be killed.
But I'm feeling like I'm at the point. I'll either snap, go crazy, or mass destroy. This ain't a sham, so don't blame if I act annoyed. If you question what I rap and try to match the source, trying to get spins like breakers on harbor floors. It's hard when you couldn't write a check for sliding doors. You can see I get spins like a laundromat. I believe I'm sicker than a hypochondriac. Yeah, your bitch clean and I'm calling it good. Pots all on my balls cause she polishing wood. Think I could if I want, but it's misunderstood. Leave blood on the walls like recording with shook. I'm depressed to the point that I can't just chill or relax, but goddamn it, I need beef in my life cause I'm famished. Plus I came to purge like bulimits after smashing on a full stomach. But I swear the answer is I'm a bad egg like ovarian cancer. Frankenstein on a beat race creating the master. Remix beautiful people like Marilyn Manson. It's alive when I'm screaming while I'm tearing up these raps. And I'm flashing bitches like Barry Allen in the sack. And I got your bitch nude, hippie hugging my tree trunk. For you should be a little like a fucking Ewok.
Feeling like there's no shame running through these cold veins. Can't feel my soul, I'm out of touch and feel no pain. And I've been thinking that I'm ready to die. No big deal. Can't leave, I still got plenty of life. I can't be killed. Like there's no shame running through these cold veins. Can't feel my soul, I'm out of touch and feel no pain. And I've been thinking that I'm ready to die. No big deal. Can't leave, I still got plenty of life. You'll never kill me.
Victims wait.
Teens, madness and sadness, happiness and joy mixed with depression, and those lessons we all learn from having these emotions grab us. Suicidal, homicidal fits of psycho rip inside my vitals. Awful G's. How do I manage this? Emotions that keep roller coasting in my ghost, that makes me feel I am indeed a mixture of all of these. Hatred and love and peace and war, hardcore and then mixed with a little harmony. Let me go, let the flow go live like I'm a molten to the very in the center of your squad. I'ma spit it again cause I've embedded deep inside of you like a chip in a robot. Shiny 5 is alive and I'm making a note from every emotion I stretch like Botox. It's son of a gun, hip in the bad seats. I can't believe everybody's rolling a soul off. Sorry doc, I really like it the way that was made, so the crazy train stops when I roll off. And I gotta exhibit everything that's stuck inside of my prison. When I get a vision, I'ma go off. Got me feeling like my mentality better me. Gotta be the side effect of my motherfucking anatomy. Overheating the brain, be running ahead of me, recording whatever the data be gathering. Sane, I think not 1 million thoughts and they fire at once while I'm caught in the middle of a rock and a hard place. Take 'em to the Mars space case on slot. I can't think for the feels I'll be feeling coming up out of me, ruckus like a bug shot. And I like if I did not tell you I'm distraught. Deal with all these things inside. I don't know how I'm still alive. I get more things, madness and sadness, happiness and joy mixed with depression, and those lessons we all learn from having these emotions grab us. Suicidal, homicidal fits of psycho rip inside my vitals. Awful G's. How do I manage this? Emotions that keep roller coasting in my ghost, that make me feel I am indeed a mixture of all of these. Hatred and love and peace and war, hardcore and then mixed with a little harmony.
All the confusion, trying to make sense of a life living in the dark, trying to figure out money, trying to figure out art, trying to figure out what in the hell am I doing here, and I fear that it's all an illusion. Have I traveled too far in the wrong direction, telling me to stay calm while it's all impressing, while I detonate bombs and prolong the messes, and I gotta make all of the music, all that I ever fought for, doing it for all your amusement. Everything I've suffered in every moment of trouble, the difficult in the bubble, it was all but abusive. I kept it all moving and thought I had it in check, but the fellow behind me, I felt the breathing on my neck. I could feel death coming, but I wasn't ready yet. I remember what he said, if I wasn't already dead. Ever since then, I've been a lightning rod. I feel it all so hard that I fight with God. It overwhelms every night until I can't even sleep. I panic and creep out and feel the banister creak. It's like a mental insane asylum inside my skull of overwhelming emotions, and it divides my soul. And I'm doing what I can to survive. I grow. Is it ever gonna end though? I don't know.
I deal with all these things inside. I don't know how I'm still alive. I get more things, madness and sadness, happiness and joy mixed with depression, and those lessons we all learn from having these emotions grab us. Suicidal, homicidal fits of psycho rip inside my vitals. Awful G's. How do I manage this? Emotions that keep roller coasting in my ghost, that make me feel I am indeed a mixture of all of these. Hatred and love and peace and war, hardcore and then mixed with a little harmony.
If I walked away from everything that's killing me, I wouldn't know which way to go. Whoa. And if I said goodbye to all these things that's killing me, well, I'd feel so alone. Yeah, I'm dying for company.
I'm dying from all of the things that I love. What comes to mind? The liquor and drugs, the feeling I get when I'm getting a buzz. The lie I keep telling myself when I run. I'm telling you now from my heart and my lungs. I'm past the point of giving a fuck. And those that know me, they know that I'm stuck. Even though I be roaming and running amok, I've been ready to die. And that ain't a lyric, them demons been siphoning Even in all of my spirit demeanor ain't well. I'm barely coherent, I'm under a spell of fearless appearance, but no one can hear it, I'm screaming in vain. I reach for the sun, can't see through the rain. Don't know where to run, I just sit here in place and pretend for a second I'm winning the race. Cause
if I walked away from everything that's killing me, I wouldn't know which way to go. Whoa. And if I said goodbye to all these things that's killing me, well, I'd feel so alone. Yeah, I'm dying for company.
Lay it all out, I'm just biding my time. I wish I was dead, but I'm dying for life. Addicted to things that kill me inside. I'm looking for peace, but I'm stuck in a lie. I fight for what's right, but it's killing my ties. Stuck between people who help me to rise, and no matter the things I try to imply, I always end up in the middle of fights. It ain't easy to choose to go left or go right, so I do what I have to bring things to light. And I hope for the best, but I'm losing the fight. It's stressing me out, and I'm killing my time and killing my stress with the bottle and line. Just let me get loose, and I'll make it alright. But in the AM, I'm back in the Y. I'm stuck in a vortex consisting of lies, and yeah.
If I walked away from everything that's killing me, I wouldn't know which way to go. Whoa. And if I said goodbye to all these things that's killing me, well, I'd feel so alone. Yeah, I'm dying for company.
I've been running this way for the sake of my soul. Been gunning my brain to give me a hold. I'm feeling my pain, the curtain is closed. I need a change for this burdens to go. Like a train on the way with a wagon attached. Old school, better smoke over your head. I need some company when I stop at a weighted track. We're going back to the basics, man. Better be cutting it later than ever. I'm fading away to the home of the devil. Getting ready to run for the matter. The problem was happening. Someone to talk to while I'm drinking and rapping. Stand that against the rain that is so packed in. But the free sets in, I reach for the stars. So the next thing is,
if I walked away from everything that's killing me, I wouldn't know which way to go. Whoa. And if I said goodbye to all these things that's killing me, well, I'd feel so alone. Yeah, I'm dying for company. host in a minute. Brutal Business Entertainment. We coming after everybody. Body's about to fall, y'all. Get it? Is this war? Is it more? Break down the door. Bring out your corpse. Not keeping score. Got it locked. Figure 4. Hit record. Bring the torches with the horde. Kill them all. This ain't a war. It's a massacre. This ain't a war. It's a massacre. This ain't a war. It's a massacre. Fuck the world. We'll take on every single challenger. What even is this? Ain't bullshit for 100 songs. I'm all about some shit you never done. Go suck a dong. Fucking cons not ready when I bring the wrath like a fucking con. Hellfire my fucking spine. Hold mics with bloody bombs. Come along, I'll show you death cause you overstep. I'm on my tap, bury you alive, bitch, don't hold your breath. Take that fake chain, asphyxiating till I broke your neck. Raising more hell than Motorhead, hunt y'all like Boba Fett. Fuck these underground rappers too, just little nerds. Clowns on SoundCloud, shout bow down, climb up in the herd. Make the rap game my prisoner, my rhythm sinister. I'm Jack the Ripper with literature, kill them when I get the urge. Been disturbed, I don't give a single fuck about your opinion. Most of these fucking rappers' vocabulary's infant. They catalogs infringement, mine's is just malignant. You don't wanna go to war with me or my contention. Is this war? Is it more? Break down the door, bring out your corpse. Not keeping score, got it locked, figure 4. Hit record, bring the torches with the horde, kill them all. This ain't a war, it's a massacre. This ain't a war, it's a massacre. This ain't a war, it's a massacre. Fuck the world, we'll take on every single challenger. This world has been corroded and filled with rodents. Motherfuckers think you owe them and looking for a bonus. Without me, you promoters would have crashed like a Bowen. Saints poet, lead them like Moses. Bring in bad omens. I'm done with acting civil, bite the hand, get crippled. Opportunists all around, even fucking fans are fickle. Only there with you on top, treat us as sacrificial. Past the pistol, now I'm the devil dancing in the middle. Start with ignoramus and send them down where Hades lives. Not a fucking thought in their brain, they all just plagiarists. I'm dangerous, Amos, miscellaneous, don't play favorites. Don't give a fuck with you, a pagan, atheist, or Satanist. Better watch what you're doing inside my backyard. Don't let us catch you moving heroin powder to black tar. Turning to track stars, repercussions faster than NASCAR. Brutal Business logo on your corpse, your villain still at large. Is this war? Is it more? Break down the door, bring out your corpse. Not keeping score, got it locked, figure 4. Hit record, bring the torches with the horde, kill them all. This ain't a war, it's a massacre. This ain't a war, it's a massacre. This ain't a war, it's a massacre. Fuck the world, we'll take on every single challenger. Be warned, we don't play warrior on the keyboard. We'll strap your whole fucking family to some seaboard. Your hunchback, live your mama's basement. Your ego motherfucker put you on a detour right to the seafloor. Always brutal, ain't no time for the cry babies. Most millennials like ladies while I'm spitting rabies. They hear some shit they don't like and run to find safety. I know that God hates me, I'm Satan's Tom Brady. Get on your Twitter and blog, go eat your top pies. One violence don't need a call, so fuck a dialogue. One body's outlined in chalk all on the sidewalk. Can't get in a church or a mosque, I wonder why not. If I offended you, I humbly don't give a fuck. Middle finger permanently up, bitch, don't interrupt. Feel like Thanos, I'd much rather turn them to dust. To go on forever like Sisyphus, cause this is us. Is this war? Is it more? Break down the door, bring out your corpse. Not keeping score, got it locked, figure 4. Hit record, bring the torches with the horde, kill them all. This ain't a war, it's a massacre. This ain't a war, it's a massacre. This ain't a war, it's a massacre. Fuck the world, we'll take on every single challenger.
There's a bad feeling outside my window. Let it in. It wants to sin. There's a gray spot of rain in the doorway. Let it go. It wants to know how yesterday could be so cruel. How I could sail on a ship of fools. I don't think I can, so I'm telling the wolves again. Save me from myself, save me from this world. I don't think I can, so I'm telling the wolves again. Please take me instead, please take me again. There's an empty void upon my shoulders. Lift away again today. There's resentment carried by the demons. The price was paid. Regrets don't fade. How this morning exists so true. Fable the scars untold who knew. I don't think I can, so I'm telling the wolves again. Save me from myself, save me from this world. I don't think I can, so I'm telling the wolves again. Please take me instead, please take me again.
Diabolic, the monster. Gasolina. Body count. Hey, 1, 2, 3, that's a body count. I shoot 2, 4, 9, that's somebody's crowd. I hit 3, 6, 5, that's a year around. I call 911, bitches going down. I got 6, everybody's laying around. Like 9/11 jumpers when they hit the ground. I got 1, 2 reasons I don't fuck around. Looking like Under Armour, I protect the house. I got 1 machete and a loaded 9. Hey, 12 rounds, I ain't talking boxing match. Pop breaking in the crib, put the gun in the grill. Now tell me, how you gonna box with that? I drain your blood where the faucet's at. I don't like you kids like a foster dad. Here to tell y'all fucks that the monster back. I'm stopping all hoes, call it monster mash. Hey, pain on the beat, bring the flame to the street. Oh, gas and my bitch got a monster ass. I'm bringing the wicked, the shrunken head, military, and I cover it like a punker where they function at. I got all up in my feelings about the people and the dealers, and they pull it like a temperature, a bang on them hoes. Living really wicked and the people never get it, but I guess it's because I'm fucking strange, I suppose. I STRANGE, pray if you're my enemy. I ain't got the energy. What the fuck's gotten into me? STRANGE, pray if you're my enemy. I ain't got the energy. What the fuck's gotten into me? Power up, power up, power up. Yeah, bitch, I power up. I power up, power up. Yeah, bitch, I power up. I power up, power up. Yeah, bitch, I power up. Power up, power up. Yeah. Back to the bars like a relapse. This time, don't nobody get a free pass. Hang him in the freezer and I beat him like a Rocky. I promise to get nobody snap a killer in that cold mask. Fully y'all better walk past to get your body surrounded by a chalk dash. You're a psycho the same lines, and so it's really easy to see the reasons why you bitches talk trash. Yeah, bitch, I power up. Like I'm being plugged into a receptacle. Gripping your neck and like a person with a grudge. Man, I swear to God, it's hard for me to let it go. Triple I diabotic is on a couple edibles. All of your homies that think I'm trash, but man, it's all good. Cause your girl DM'd and she said I'm incredible. Bitch, you about to say I'm all this better, so people gon' die. I'm a death machine. Compounds unstable like I'm tetrazine. Hey, we be on the block like a Tetris team. I'm a soldier. I will not accept defeat. Goddamn. If I wanna kill him, you can call it God's plan. Bitch, I am a god, I got a gun and y'all scram. Hit him with a whip and throw him in the Dodge Ram. Bitch, I got the power on the motherfucker man. STRANGE, pray if you're my enemy. I ain't got the energy. What the fuck's gotten into me? STRANGE, pray if you're my enemy. I ain't got the energy. What the fuck's gotten into me? Power up, power up, power up. Yeah, bitch, I power up. I power up, power up. Yeah, bitch, I power up. I power up, power up. Yeah, bitch, I power up. Power up, power up. Yeah.
Adrenaline rushing through my veins, got the butterflies flying and got my nose like I just took something in my chest till my heart starts thumping. All becomes real like the mic I'm touching. I'm about to let it out, leaving knowing nothing. That's what I'm black out. Energy changes in the room as soon as I hear the first rip. Vision begins to quake like my brain is in a mosh pit. Through the stage we grab the mic, that's when you know we lost it. Freaking out and going crazy, oh you know we love this shit. Now I'm addicted to something that I don't have any control of. Being a maniac up on stage, my one and only true. Living life like a madman, top of the game and business is brutal. These rhymes are reducing, keep it crazy. You think we need your approval?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Uncovering the Underground Radio Podcast Show. As always, I'm your host, Skippy Yickham of Brutal Business Entertainment, and I want to thank you for checking us out tonight. We have another great episode in store for you, but before we jump into that, I ask that if you were listening out there, whether live or streaming this after the fact, you click the like button, share button, and follow button on whatever platform you're listening to us on, whether it be iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Castbox, Spreaker, you name it, we're on it. So please click the buttons that they give you, because the more that you do that, the more that it moves us up the podcast community rankings, the more people that find out about the show, the bigger and better things that we can do with the show. And obviously that keeps you in tune with our past, present, and future episodes. So make sure you check that out. We do want to thank our sponsors, as we do every single week. Tattooed Scumbag Apparel. You can check out all of their merch line at tattooedscumbag.com. If you use promo code BBE10, that gives you 10% off of your overall order. Great way of supporting a local tattoo artist, local business, great merchandise company, and they make good quality merchandise, good quality clothing, comfortable to wear around the house. It's durable. It lasts on stage when I'm rocking out. So it's something that, artists and, regular people just, can enjoy and wear at home. I wear it at home. I wear it out. I wear it on stage. So make sure you check them out again at tattooedscumbag.com, promo code BBE10. I would like to thank Roush Designs, Legion Artworks, 5 Milligram Artworks, and R3 Graphics for all the work that they do on the art side. Especially Roush Designs for their newest banner and newest artwork for the show, the official 2020 banner and announcement art that they recently made us. Tonight is the first time that we've used that, or for this specific show is the first time that we've used that. So thank you to Lindsay and for her company for doing that. And if you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out. Check out everything coming out from our team here at Brutal Business at www.teambrutalbusiness.com, and that gives you all updates on our music, the wrestling, the modeling and photography, the radio shows, the horror review column, and much, much more. If you haven't checked out the Gruesome Gazette, please do so. Great way for anybody that's a fan of horror to find out about new releases, upcoming releases, and some past releases as well. Good in-depth reviews on all things horror. You can check that out on Facebook just by searching the Gruesome Gazette. We got some great writers on the team that certainly put out content daily and weekly, so make sure you check that out. A lot of great events coming up, a lot of great fundraisers that we recently just got done finishing up, and some still to come. We have been fortunate enough to raise several $1,000s for a young girl with heart issues right now that was just recently born, that's helping her and her family out, and also raised a good chunk of money for children's hospitals recently with our video game drive that we did, a 24-hour live stream of video games. So, certainly like to use our talents to help people out there. So if you haven't checked that out, there still is time to donate to those causes. And we also recently just launched the Brutal Business live stream team from Demo Demon and his company, or his part of the company there. So lots of video game fun for those gamers out there. You can watch live streams of different members of the team rocking the Brutal Business logo, supporting the team. So everything you can think of, we're bringing you here from Brutal Business Entertainment, as well as all the new shows that we're putting out and all the other entertainment. If you missed our other radio show last night, Celestial Oddities, make sure you check that out. Our episode last night was on the Men in Black and the entity known as Indrid Cold. It was a very good episode with Daniel and myself. And if you don't know about that show, Celestial Oddities is a paranormal and supernatural show, two-parter, one part being where Daniel and I pick specific topics and go in depth on those topics, and then the other side of the show is where we take on phone calls from all around the world to listen to people's encounters and experiences with the supernatural. So if you've missed those, you can check out all past, present, and future episodes just by searching Celestial Oddities on whatever platform out there that you like listening to your radio shows. We're on it, along with this show here, Uncovering the Underground. If you do want to interact with us live during the show, you can certainly do so by going through the Spreaker app or through the website, and that's Spreaker with an R, Spreaker. That does allow you to leave comments, engage yourself in the show, or ask our guests each and every week questions during the show. So I encourage you, be a part of the show. Come join us. If you're listening out there right now on a different platform, that's fine. Listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, and all that. That's great. But if you want to engage with the show, ask Witch Hunt tonight some questions. Jump on the Spreaker app or the link and leave them some questions. We'll certainly pick them and ask them. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start talking about our guest this evening. Very excited to bring these guys on the line and pick their brain a little bit. They've been doing some great things. The band's name is Witch Hunt. It's a Pittsburgh-based metalcore band consisting of Hunter Keppel, Brandon Paluca, Dan Markman, and Nick Note. And if I'm saying the names wrong, I apologize. I'm always horrible at reading names. But we're going to bring a few of them on the line tonight. We do have on the line tonight Hunter, Dan, and Brandon. And we're going to be picking their brains, talking to them about the formation of the band and what is to come. Welcome to the show, guys. Thank you for being on tonight.
Thank you for having us.
What's up?
Absolutely. I was glad to bring you guys on. A fan of your music, fan of what you guys are doing. I'm very impressed with what I've heard so far and can't wait to let the fans hear a little bit more of that tonight and hear a little bit about what you guys have coming up. I just want to jump right into it. Why Witch Hunt?
Brandon, you pick the name. I'll let you should take that one.
That's all you. This kind of happened when I was talking to the guy who produced our first two songs. We were talking about an album we both enjoyed, and he's like, "Do you want to make music like this?" And I was like, "Yeah, honestly, like I've been trying to start something that I finally found people, Dan, Hunter, and Nick, that are kind of all have the same idea." And I wanted something a little bit like, I don't want like quote unquote like spooky, but something along those lines. And I really liked Witch Hunt.
Okay. No, sometimes every name comes together in its own ways, and you know when it feels right. If you hear the name or you come across the name, you think of the name, and you're like, oh, that's it. Usually the band's going to know whenever they hear it. Sometimes that's the hardest step. Sometimes it comes very naturally. I've been in bands over the years, and I always found one of the harder steps to be, what do we call ourselves? What do we all agree upon? What do we think fits the image and sound of the band? And I think it's a great name. I think it's very fitting as well.
Thank you.
Now, you guys all from the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area? Are you spread out a little bit? Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're all from around the suburbs of Pittsburgh. I don't believe any of us are inner city. No, I'm probably the closest to the city. That's about it. But we're all kind of spread around and met each other over the internet and through mutual friends to get together to form this. So,
okay, so something that you guys didn't necessarily all know each other prior to the formation of the band. It kind of came together that you met one another and then formed the band, or is it something that you did know each other? How did that come together?
I know for at least me and Brandon, we were friends on Facebook for a really long time, and we're kind of interacting with each other and
really like talking.
Yeah, we didn't know each other, and then I forget how it came to be. We started planning to play a cover show with a group. And then it just kind of took off from there. And then we found Dan and Nick, and
here we are.
Yeah.
No, currently, are you guys, how many piece band are you guys right now?
Right now, there is 4 of us. We're working together on getting a 5th and 6th member currently. We recently had to part ways with our 2 former guitarists. However, we're getting the final lineup together. And within the next couple of weeks here, we should have something figured out.
So right now, currently, is it 2 vocals? Is that correct?
Yeah.
2 vocals, drums, and bass?
Yep.
And then soon to be filling in the position of the guitar players.
Right.
Now, do you think with the changing of guitar players, you're going to keep the same sound, but I mean, do you feel that it's going to be in the same direction as the 2 previous releases that you've put out? Do you feel that there's going to be a major change in the sound? Obviously, you'll keep the same direction, but sometimes the changing of members can not really affect the band too much. Sometimes it kind of really, changes the sound that has already been released in the past. What do you guys feel with that?
I don't think there'll be too big of a change. We obviously to have everybody's creative input involved, but we plan on keeping the same momentum that we have had with the last 2 tracks and hopefully expanding upon that and seeing what we can do with it.
No, absolutely. And why don't you guys tell me? I'll jump in and I'll start picking specific people, obviously, out of the three of you. That way it's easier to know who to answer. Wanted to pick your brains just collectively, but let's jump with you, Brandon. Why don't you tell us what's your age ranges in the band? Because that's one of the things I think that's very surprising about you guys is you're all pretty young. And when you hear the music here in a little bit, you're going to say, wow, these guys are pretty damn legit, and it's very impressive for being as young as you guys are. Why don't you tell us the age range between all of you?
All right, so Dan and I are both 22. Nick, our drummer, is 19, and Hunter's 15.
Yeah, 15.
So, youngest of the group.
It's impressive to think 15 years old and you're involved in music. You're out putting in work. You're putting together something of this caliber. And that's for all of you guys, not just Hunter, but obviously that's a very young age, so very, kudos to you, very impressed with that. But all of you guys, 22 or under, that's awesome. I think if you guys stick with what you're doing and continue to get tighter and tighter, which, you're already tight, you guys could really, really make one hell of a mark here, not only in the Pittsburgh scene, but certainly, start to spread across, the different territories in the underground. So, I think, once everybody hears your music here in a little bit, they'll agree with me. But I listen to a lot of music. Obviously, I interview a lot of people as well. And I know good music when I hear it. And I knew Hunter on Facebook, and we talked a few times in the past. And then I seen the release of the first song, and then I hit play on it. And I'm like, I expected it to be good. But I didn't expect it to be that good. And it was nothing against him. It's just knowing how young he was, knowing the new bands I never have the most hope for. It takes time to get very tight. It takes time to really craft your sound. And I clicked play, and I'm like, oh, shit, okay, these guys truly kind of peeled my wig back a little bit. I wasn't expecting it to be that good so quickly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, absolutely. I love it. I think that you guys have a bright future. So biggest thing is the biggest piece of advice I can give as someone who's been in bands for, over 20 some years is take a step back from time to time, take a breath, and then, refocus, step back in, because it's easy to let things kind of, sweep you away a little bit. It's sometimes working with 4 or 5, or in your guys' case, you want to be 6. It's hard to keep everyone on the same page all the time. It's hard with 6 different personalities, 6 different lives going on to try to all come together and play as a band, play as a unit, and grow together. And sometimes that can you get carried away and you don't see it happening, and it can start to affect things. You have to take a step back every now and again, all 6 of you, and take a breath and then get back in and recalibrate. As long as you can do that, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I think that's a very important part. You have to kind of find a bunch of different people that all have the same interest as you, and not necessarily just interest, but they have the same drive, they have the same passion for what you're doing. And a lot of the time that can make it difficult to get people together, but when you do, you're in a good position and you feel really blessed to be there.
You do. That's important. Sometimes it doesn't matter necessarily just talent. Obviously, you want everybody to be talented, but you can have the most talented singer, most talented guitar player ever, and they just shred. But if they don't have the right mentality and the right mind state to step in and be a part of a unit, they're worthless to you. It doesn't matter how good they are, because they can make the band or they can break the band. But when you get people that are on the same page, have the same drive, same vision, that's what ultimately crafts good, tight music. And then aside from that, you just have to learn how to all get along at all times. And you're not always going to get along. There's going to be obviously times where you guys will, butt heads with one another. That's standard. If that didn't happen, I would worry. But it's about being able to step back, take a breath, as I said, recalibrate, step back in, because it's going to get heated. But sometimes it's just business, and you have to know how to stay friends throughout it all.
Very true.
Now, how long have you guys been a band?
July.
Yeah, roughly around July.
No, that was when we started talking about it.
Well, like January, but like it really came to fruition like in the springtime when we started.
When we actually first got in contact with Josh in general.
Right.
It was mostly you two at first.
Mm-hmm.
It really pick us up until around July, August.
It was awesome until it was just me and Brandon until Finna Hick Deuce was released.
Yeah. And then once that, then we attracted you and Nick.
Yeah, and here we are.
Now, question for you. Just so I got my bearings straight. Hunter and Brandon, you both are on vocals. Dan, you are drummer or bass player?
I'm the bassist.
Bassist, okay. I wanted to make sure I had my facts straight, because I know of you guys. I've read a little bit, but I didn't know who was playing which instrument. Okay. Now, what is your plans going forward? I mean, obviously, it's to fill in the other two guitar players' positions, continue to work together. Would the ultimate goal be, to focus on the scene here for a while, kind of build yourselves and set your roots? Or is it that you're trying to take this on the road? What is your ultimate plan as of right now?
I think right now the most important part is getting the right collective group of people together. Obviously, we're going to start playing shows in the local area very soon. We have one scheduled in March, actually, with a couple of our friends in Bacasora. And from there, the main goal at the end of the day is to get touring as soon as possible. Like, we want to get out there, get that reach, and get out to as many different places and groups of people as we possibly can. It will be nice to build up in the scene. I hope that does happen. But the main focus is to just spread. Reach as far as we can possibly go, and then
see where it takes us.
See where it goes.
Now, what I would say is, if that is your focus, and that's admirable to have that as your focus, a piece of advice I would give is don't rush the touring too quickly. It's obviously great to be ambitious and want to get out on the road and spread as quickly as you can. But I would say if you guys are going to be, getting out and starting to play in the scene early 2020, book as much as you can, as often as you can, realistically, in the Pittsburgh scene and surroundings areas of Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania, obviously, and play as much as you can, every opportunity. I don't care if it's a small corner bar with 5 people in it. I don't care if it's, a show that doesn't seem like you're befitting the bill. Get out, play in front of all different types of talent, all different types of sounds of music, because I feel that too often people limit themselves when they get out. Oh, we don't want to take that show. It's not going to be big enough. Or we don't want to take that show. It's with bands that don't fit us. We're too heavy. We don't fit the bill. The thing is, you should play everywhere and anywhere to get your roots out, because the more you play together, the tighter you become as a unit. Because as much as you practice, that's great. The practice will help, but the shows are ultimately what's going to really bring you guys together as a unit, and you don't want to hit the road and be out in other states until you're fully ready. So I always say, it's great to be ambitious, because a lot of people play for years in the scene before they get to the point where they say, you know what, we want to tour now. But you do meet bands such as yourselves that already are planning that, saying, hey, we don't want to be here for years and years before we decide we want to tour. We're wanting to do that now, and that's great. I think that's the ultimate goal. But make sure you don't rush it too quickly that you get out there and you're not ready. Spend next year just busting your ass. I can certainly help with that. If you guys want to reach out to me at some point when you're ready, I can certainly connect you with the right people to get you a lot more Pittsburgh shows. And just get out there and play, because if you can put out live what you guys are putting out in the studio, it's going to spread like wildfire.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, you guys, right now I'm just asking because I'm not 100% sure. It sounds like 6-string, but was your guitar players playing 6 strings or 7 strings?
Actually, they were both tracked on a 6-string Jazzmaster, but it was a baritone. I'm not positive, but the candidates we have talked to for guitar, I'm pretty sure they're both leaning towards 7 strings. Simply because we're in double drop D. That's a very low tuning, and most 6 strings just can't handle it.
It is hard for the very low tunings for the 6 strings to be able to really give it the presence that it needs. A lot of them can't handle that low of a tuning. 7 strings are good. Now, I always here's my critique on a lot of bands with 7 strings. And I'm not saying this is the case for you guys, but a lot of bands go to 7 strings, but they don't play the talent to match a 7 string. It's great to be low and have that tone, but I always tell people, if you're going to play a 7 string, you better play that 7 string. Don't just play it because it's low and it's crunchy sounding. That's great. I want to see you shredding that fucking thing, because as a very accomplished guitar player myself, I play 6 string. I've played 7 string, but I don't go to 7 string because it is nice to have the extra crunch to it. But I don't know. I never switched fully over because I felt like if I needed to master not just having a low string, but master that into my sweeps, master that into everything else. And I didn't have that type of time to devote with everything else I had going on, so I always kind of stayed on the 6. But I admire good 7-string bands, people that do it justice. Great 7-string band that I liked for a long time that hasn't been around in a while was Salt the Wound, and I love the way that they played their 7 strings. And, kudos to you guys if you find 2 good 7-string guitar players. That'd be awesome. I can't wait to hear what you guys come up with.
Thank you.
Now, I wanted to ask, we'll go back to you, Dan. I want to get with you, and then we'll jump to, Hunter and Brandon. Were you always, thinking you wanted to be in the metal side of things, or did you start out in a different path? I mean, I know that some people, their plan was from day one to be in a metal band. Some people started out with classical music and different things like that, and it kind of led into metal. How was your beginnings as far as music started?
I always wanted to make music from a very young age. It's always been the thing that interested me most. I didn't really start getting into it and actually chasing it as a passion until I started getting involved in the local scene back whenever I was a teenager. Because back then I had no idea how things worked. Like, I thought, you had to be just in the right place at the right time, and not that stuff really happened around here. And then I started going to Scumbag shows. It was a venue in Natrona a lot of us used to play at or go to back in the day.
Oh yeah, I remember Scumbags.
Yeah. And once I saw, hey, I can just get up here and do this with all of my friends and go from there. People show up, people care. That's whenever it really kind of kicked into drive for me. Hey, this is something that you could pursue. This is something that you could do. And it's a great opportunity to meet people, to express yourself, your creativity, what you want to do.
Now, was your focus, did you think it was going to be in metal, though? Did you kind of know already?
From the time I started getting to shows, I knew it was going to be in metal.
I think that Scumbags mainly, I mean, it really, they played punk and they played rock and metal and stuff there, but mainly it was more of a hardcore and metal scene. The guy that used to book those shows, I can't remember exactly his name, it was TR something. I think his first 2 initials was TR, that's what everybody called him. But he had a funny-ass name on MySpace back in the day. And yes, I said MySpace. He used to book my band all the time, Souls Aries. We used to play there. That and the Roundabout up the road from there, which was a pizza place. And it was an interesting place in Natrona Heights as well. It lasted for a handful of years. Great shows. Weirdest environment ever because you would be playing in the middle of a fucking pizza place. So, I mean, you would have 100 kids packed into this place. You'd be rocking the stage with death metal, and people would be coming in having no idea what they were getting into and having to walk through this thick crowd of young kids to pick up their pie. And I always just found it to be the funniest fucking venue ever. It got shut down, unfortunately, because no one patrolled the outside, and outside in the parking lot. And it was held at the Natrona Heights Plaza with all the stores up there that burned down a handful of years ago and they rebuilt. There'd be like 16 and 17-year-olds out in the parking lot just partying, drinking fifths, right out in the open, no give a shit, which, that's great and all to party and have fun, but because of that, they end up shutting that venue down. It was one of my favorite venues to play back in the day. Natrona Heights had some pretty good venues. So, now you said you guys have a show coming up in March. Where is that supposed to be at?
Mr. Roboto in Pittsburgh.
Ah, Mr. Roboto. Yeah, that's in the Garfield area.
Yeah.
Interesting little venue as well. Fun place to play. It's definitely a nice place to rock out to.
Yeah, very DIY.
Yes, very DIY. They used to be a place that I used to battle on the rap side with the rap circuit and things right down the street from there. It was an art gallery right across the street, but I used to also play in the metal side up the street at Mr. Roboto. So there's some cool little venues in that area. Like as you said, very DIY, fun place to play. I haven't heard anybody booking there in a while though, so it's great to hear that they're doing something there again, because back in like 2008, 2009, that was a very hip spot where they were booking a lot of shows and even bringing a lot of touring acts through. And then it kind of simmered down, then it came back, and then it's kind of simmered down again. So, hey, maybe it's making a return, so that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Now, we'll jump to you, Hunter. What is your main influences right now? Obviously, you're doing vocals. Who was the one person, one vocalist, one band that really captured you? Normally I ask someone this and I say when you were younger. Well, you're still pretty goddamn young. So, at your current young age, who really got you started into, death metal vocals and getting into a band?
Well, there were two that really sparked it for me. The first one was Ian Bear, who was in Souls of Ares with you. I grew up with his brother. I've known his brother for 10 years now. And so I've always known him. So I kind of always knew, like, it was a thing. But then with one of my other friends, Hayden, we went to his brother's band show, and I saw them just totally ripping it the fuck up. And I was like, I need to do that. And then it just kind of took off from there.
Okay. Well, no, that's great to hear. And shout out to Ian Bear, longtime friend of mine. We had some great memories together. Out there killing it, folks. If you're listening in, Ian Bear is the singer of Rings of Saturn, a professional death metal band. They tour the world right now, doing great things. Dude's truly a very, very talented vocalist. So much love to you, Ian. It's been a little while since I talked to you, brother. I know you've been busy. Me and him cross paths randomly at the most inopportune, strange times. But we still try to keep in touch with one another as we can because we're both pretty busy. But great times together with him. We had a lot of fun. And as you said, I mean, whenever you see someone up there killing it and you're younger, you're like, you know what, fuck yeah, I want to do that. Because I remember years ago, and it seems like many years ago now, being in your shoes and, as you were just explaining and saying, wow, I want to do that. And then you get on stage and start doing it, and it's just, wow, it just creates such a hunger. The more people you play for, the bigger you get, the more music you make, and I'm happy for where you guys are at. I'm envious. The days of my band side is long over, but envious of any up-and-comers that are doing their thing. No, Brandon, how about you? Who kind of, who for you was just a band or a singer that you started listening to and you said, wow, like, I idolize them. I really want to get into this and start doing this myself.
Well, my music roots started back with my dad raised me on hair metal. So when I think like Rat, Dawkins, Poison, bands like that really got me interested. Then I found Korn. I heard them and I fell in love with their sound, Freak on a Leash, all that. Then after that I really started then I saw Slipknot live for the first time and seeing their energy, especially Corey Taylor, just made me think, wow, like I want to do something like that. Just the presence he had on that stage and how he's commanding the crowd was something like I've never seen before.
Yeah, he's one of the and truly in my mind one of the best frontmen to ever live. So, and Jonathan Davis certainly in Korn is a great frontman as well. So you named two very, very great frontmen. Corey Taylor, though, I think is on a level all of his own, whether it's with Slipknot, whether it's by himself, or whether it's with Stone Sour. He has different sides to him that come out, and each time he's able to capture the crowd in the best way possible and all kinds of different feels to him. I've seen him literally play in front of 100,000 people at a festival a few years ago by himself on acoustic guitar, and he killed it.
Yep.
So when you can come out and play in front of 100,000 people on an acoustic guitar and fucking destroy it, and then you can walk out with a mask on and play in Slipknot, and then walk out with Stone Sour and kill it, that's saying something to be able to be that versed. So great frontmen. Talking about hair metal, Rat actually just played in Pittsburgh last night. So shout out to the 80s hairstyle metal. I'm a huge fan of the 80s metal. So that's awesome to hear that that's where you started out at.
That's where I really started getting my love for all kind of metal music, and it just progressed to where I'm at now.
And that's the thing. It's good to be versed. It's good to, certainly I'm a huge death metal fan. I mean, honestly, I for my job today, I had to go out and do a bunch of vendor visits. I visit a lot of businesses that send me business. So I was on the road for about 5.5 hours earlier, and most of the time I was listening to death metal. So I'm constantly listening to death metal. I've always been a huge fan. but I love jumping back to Warrant and Dawkins and Rat and Quiet Riot and all those amazing bands. So it's good to have that verse and that respect for metal because it came from that. Now, obviously, there's old school death metal bands like Napalm Death and Cannibal Corpse and things that are still doing their thing. So it's been around a very long time too. But I mean, they all are interconnected and all stemmed from the old style metal. So, who would you say is your favorite, Brandon, on the old style hair metal? Which would you say is your favorite hair metal band?
I'd go with Dawkins.
Dawkins. George Lynch. Yeah, absolutely. George Lynch is a fucking beast.
Yep. He kind of got me interested to even want to play music, guitar. That's why I started at guitar, but then just kind of progressing me doing more vocals as I heard more of today's music and old Slipknot and Cannibal Corpse and all those.
Okay. I dig it. Yeah, George Lynch is a great guitar player, and just a great piece of history in the metal scene. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't know who that is these days. A lot of our listeners out there listening right now is probably like, who in the fuck is Dawkins? Who is George Lynch? Please search them. Get on YouTube. Type in Dawkins or George Lynch. You will find him. Listen to some good old music. And find your roots, folks. Now, I think that we should jump into one of your guys' first songs. I don't want to rush too quickly into the songs, but I want these people to hear what it is that I certainly fell in love with you guys, and hear what it is that you bring to the table. Now, I have two individual tracks here. I do have Tables Turned, and I have Finit Hic Deus. So which of the two would you guys like to jump into?
Finit Hic Deus.
We'll start with the one that started it all.
Let's start it with where it started. So we're going to go ahead and play it. This is Finit Hic Deus from Witch Hunt. And we'll be right back on Uncovering the Underground. All right, guys, we're back on Uncovering the Underground radio podcast show. That was Finit Hikdus from Witch Hunt, a Pittsburgh-based metalcore, deathcore band that we've been hanging out with for the last 35 minutes, picking their brain, finding out a little bit about how they got started themselves individually and how they got started as a band. Talked a little bit about what they have coming up for us as far as shows and their plans to tour in the very near future. If you liked what you heard, please leave us a comment, share their music around, search them on Facebook and give them a like. They are someone to have on your radar and someone you guys need to be watching out for. I think there's some bright futures ahead of these gentlemen, and certainly, in anticipation, sitting back and waiting to see everything that they do. So if you liked the song, leave us a comment on Spreaker. Let us know. If you have questions, please let us know as well, and we'll read it off to them. I did have some people responding to some things that we were talking about earlier. Patrick, a buddy of mine, Rooster from Nine Stitch Method, great metal band here in Pittsburgh, signed to Brutal Business, left that it is TR that used to book the shows in Scumbags. I thought it was, Patrick, thank you. He used to have a funny fucking name. I wish I could remember. TR Wrinkles, that's what it was. TR Wrinkles. Shout out to you, buddy, you weird fucker. He was a good dude, weird as shit, but he was cool as fuck. He used to book us all the time. And then he said that seldom do they book shows at Roboto anymore. It's kind of comes in spurts, and as we were saying earlier, I agree to that. So just catching up a little bit on some of the backlog of comments here. AJ Rage left some devil horns, so I'm thinking he's digging the music, and that's great. So if you liked it, leave us some love. Now, tell us about this song. Tell us what inspired this song. Tell us what the meaning of this song is and the title, and a little bit about that. And that can be any of the three of you that wants to jump in on it.
I'll take it. I wanted to, for a lot of the music I listened to inspired me to trying to start this band, I wanted to give it a try on a concept song. So with this being the first one, I picked one of my, because I'm a huge horror fan, I picked one of the movies I saw recently, The Nun, and kind of wrote it on the perspective of her. And just wanted to see how far I could push. Yeah.
And you said you wanted to see how, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It was a little bit of delay
no,
there.
You're good. I just wanted to see, how a concept song would sound. Just see, if it's something, to see us trying more in the future, just trying different options, seeing what flows right, what feels right with us.
Now, Finit Hikdus sounds very German to me. Is that the case?
It actually means God ends here in Latin.
In Latin, okay.
Yeah, it's a Latin phrase I found. Well, God ends here. But
no, that's awesome. I figured it was either Latin or German. I wasn't 100% sure. Shows you what I know. I'm probably complete. Somebody out there listening right now is like, they're nothing alike, asshole. But no, when I read it, I honestly thought it could have been either. I'm German myself, and the Finit Hikdus just has that German feel to it. But I could definitely see it being Latin as well. I was just mentioning earlier, we do have a horror review column that I have several writers that they release reviews on horror movies almost every day. Great way of finding out about, whether or not you should waste your time, watching a movie or not. And that's actually one I haven't seen yet. I'm kind of weird with my horror movies these days. So The Nun is one that probably everyone's seen at this point. I have not. I'm very, very picky anymore. And when I do watch one, I always find myself watching very, very strange ones that everybody else never even heard of. But something that has been on my list to watch, I just haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
Now, the rest of you guys horror fans as well?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. I haven't seen The Nun, though, even though, it's my song. I should probably get on that.
Damn it.
That's all right. As long as it gave you an inspiration to write it, that's all that matters. Because inspiration comes from the strangest of places. I mean, that's what's great about inspiration is you don't have to watch the movie to be inspired by the movie to write something great. So I just draw it in from everything. I read a lot, not so much these days because after the birth of my son earlier 2019, there's just no time to do it. But I would, for my writing and lyrics and things, I would just sit down and read a book, because I wouldn't write about that book or even the subjects in that book, but I know I'd start reading a lot of horror books, and it would just start spawning all kinds of crazy fucking ideas in my mind for new songs. So it's great to find inspiration. How do you guys, I mean, obviously talking this one more directed towards Hunter and Brandon, and you can both kind of chime in back and forth. How do you find inspiration for your writings, and how do you write? I mean, are you traditional pad and pen? Are you cell phone or tablet? What is your writing style, and how do you find your inspiration?
A lot of my inspiration comes from like the deepest and darkest enigmas of my mind, if that makes sense. And it's really weird how I do it, because a lot of times when I write, I'll do it absent-mindedly, like, oh, I'm chilling with friends, spacing out, I'll start writing. Can't pay attention in school, I'll start writing. And a lot of what I do, it starts as like just a couple lines, and then I'll look back on other things, and then I'll go over like the flow in my mind and try and piece it all together. That's the main way I use. But then other times I'll sit down and I'll have like a specific thing I want to focus on writing about, and I'll just sit there for anywhere from hours to practically days in my room on end doing nothing but writing. Like for what song? It's about the phone. The One Who Never Returns. It's going to be on our upcoming EP. It took me like hours in my room just for the first verse, but then other things I've written took minutes, and they were much longer.
Well, you can't rush creative genius. I mean, that's the thing, is you can write a whole song in 20 minutes, or you might spend 2 months on one verse. You can't rush it. And when you rush it, you're doing yourself an injustice. You're doing the song, or in your case, the band, an injustice. If you rush it, you have to let it come together naturally and take its course, because I feel that writing is very much you and the song. It's not you writing the song, it's the song and you writing together. And what I mean by that is you'll write the lyrics, obviously, but it comes to you as it should. And sometimes it isn't ready to be written quickly. And that sounds weird, but there's times where all of a sudden I'm sitting here not even thinking about the song, and it's like, ding, and then boom, I'm writing 6, 7, 8 lines. And then there's other times I'm sitting here staring at this tablet and I can't write for a month, and it's like it follows its own course. It tells you when it's time for it to be written.
Yeah.
Now, did you write, I don't think you said it there. Do you write pad and pen, or do you do tablet? How do you actually write the lyrics?
I usually use my phone in the Notes app, usually, but I have used pad and pen.
See, and that just shows the age differences. Whenever I was starting out, there were cell phones, obviously, because they've been around for a while, but I mean, no one had a cell phone. So when I started out, it was strictly, pad and pen if you wanted to write it down. No, I actually never wrote down lyrics. I've always just did it in my head, but there was no one writing on phones back then, and I know that's a big thing now that most people just write on their phones. Now, Brandon, how about yourself?
Well, example for going back to Tenet, actually, the guy who featured on it, one of my good friends, Rory, I was going back and forth with him about the idea, and we were kind of co-writing it together. Like, I would say that I did like a chorus or a verse. I sent it to him, like, he's like, oh yeah, I like that. And he's like, why don't you try this? And we just kind of conversed over the span of like 2 months over it. Between that and us rewatching the movie countless times just to get different ideas and see, like, oh, maybe if I try that, even if I try and write it from this perspective. But other than that, our second song, I just wrote it from like just personal experiences and like unfortunately personal experiences with what Tables Turn's about, or just other songs on the EP. The future EP is going to be like personal experiences and just trying to write about those, but maybe trying to say it from like a different like time frame. I guess if that makes sense, kind of like an older time, but still like tied into like problems around today.
Okay. Interesting. I like it. Now, you said you just mentioned the EP, and you said Tables Turned will be on the EP. Is Fit and Hick Deuce going to be on the EP, or are you just going to kind of keep that as a single?
I know Finn and Hick Deuce isn't going to be on the EP. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We haven't really worked out that far. We're still in the early process of writing because we're going to get one more single out, Sadistic, before the EP.
Okay, and how many songs are you guys planning the EP to be, roughly? I mean, you might not have that fully finalized yet, but what was the plan on that?
6, probably. 6 seems like a good number.
6 usually is. I would say for most EPs, 6, you can do 7, but I feel 5 to 6 is usually average. 5 to 7 it can be usually, but if you start to cross after 7, it starts to become more towards an LP. So I always say a good number is 5 or 6 roughly for an EP to put out. It gives you enough to really capture the listener. You know, they're going to find out pretty quickly across that 5 songs, hey, I like these guys, I'm a fan. Hey, I don't like these guys, they suck. You know, it's gonna let them know, because you listen to one song, you can't judge off that. You could listen to one song. I've heard bands where I listened to one song and thought they were amazing, heard one other song from them, and I'm like, oh shit, is that the same band? And then I listen again and again, and I'm like, oh wow, they just happened to be lucky and had a great song. But when you give them 5 or 6 songs, that is a nice body of work to really evaluate and say, okay, these dudes are consistent across 6 songs. I feel pretty confident that these guys can make an entire album, and I'm going to like it. So I think that's a really good number for you guys to do. You have another guy chiming in here. I don't know if you guys know him personally, or it might just be someone listening in tonight. I don't recognize the name, but Christian Kritzman?
Yeah, I know him really well.
He's dropping some devil horns as well. So you definitely got some people digging the music and liking what you guys are doing. Now, when can we expect, I mean, you might not have the answer for this, but when can we expect as far as the EP? Do we think early, mid, or end of 19?
About next spring.
Okay.
Yeah, spring, late March, early April.
So we'll be seeing you kind of, hitting the stage, and then shortly after your first time hitting the stage as a group, the EP to drop, which will obviously get a lot of people talking, get the buzz, the bees buzzing a little bit, which will create a lot of hunger for you guys, and you'll start to get a lot more show offers and things like that. So that's probably a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, Dan, you a 4-string, 5-string? What are we playing on?
I play a 5-string LTD.
Ooh, an ESP man. That's what I like to hear, brother. I was an ESP player myself. I had an ESP LTD, and I had an ESP, an actual straight ESP. Unfortunately, an altercation after a show one night, I got jumped, and they broke my fucking guitar.
Oh, damn.
But at one point in time, I did own a very, very nice and very expensive ESP. But I've always been one that really liked, ESP guitars. I think that they're crafted very nicely. Very nice instrument. They hold a very nice tone. Do you have active pickups or passive pickups in it?
They're passives.
Okay.
At the
I like both. I think they both give a good tone. Mine had active. The ESP itself had the EMG 85s active pickups in it, and man, that fucking thing, you'd hit them harmonics on there, and it would just scream. It's a shame. It still breaks my heart when I think about that guitar, but unfortunately, it was all over a misunderstanding. It had nothing even to really do with me. It started with a buddy that was being harassed by some fucking douche. And I stepped in to try to break it up, and then it just turned crazy, and then, a fucking bar brawl kind of broke out, ended up hurting some guy. He just happened to, get in the way and end up getting hurt, and then all his buddies took offense to it, and then ended up getting jumped that night, and they fucking threw me down a flight of, fire steps with my guitar case in my hand, broke the guitar case, broke the guitar, beat the shit out of me. And yeah, fun times playing shows, guys. Look at all the things you have to enjoy and look forward to. You just never know. I've seen some crazy things happen on the road, and that's okay. It's all part of the history. It's all part of your guys' chapter to come. Hopefully nothing like that, though, but certainly... What's that?
That's why we got to get some beef in this band.
That's it. Get some, bodybuilding. Get some, some Danzig-looking characters, real big bodybuilder. Not Danzig, though, because he's a fucking moron. But, some people like that. And no shade against Danzig, because I was a huge Danzig fan growing up, but I will say I seen him a couple years ago, and it was one of the worst performances I've ever seen in my life. And I don't often talk shit on other famous bands. It's just not a smart thing to do as a radio host, but come on, Danzig, you need to get your shit together, bro. You were fucking wasted on stage, bro. You can't do that in front of 50,000 people. Shit was embarrassing. But so we got an EP coming up. We got some shows lined up. We got a future plan of touring coming up. What else can we expect from you guys? Do we think that at some point in the works we're going to get a music video, anything like that? What else do you guys have brainstorming that you're willing to release? Maybe some of this stuff's classified right now, but is there anything else that we can expect and look forward to?
On the music video note, we were going to get one for Tables Turned, but we're going to get one for our third single, Sadistic, which will be coming up hopefully pretty soon when we start recording and stuff. So other than the music video, after the EP's out, about probably a year after is when we're going to want to start looking into a full length.
Yeah, probably.
And then in between there, hopefully some singles and shows and whatnot, obviously. So
that's a good way of going about it, though. Get an EP out, like I said, excite a little bit of panic in the scene, start to play in the scene, get people familiar with you, both very important things to do. Start to work on your full-length project, because that is the first full-length you guys write is always going to hold a very special spot in your heart, whether you guys stay a band forever, whether eventually you guys go and do other things. It doesn't matter. That first full-length album as a group is something that'll live on in your guys' minds and hearts for the rest of your life. So take your time with it, let it craft itself, let it become what you guys want it to be. But I think you have the right ideas, is put out the EP, play the scene a little bit, start to work on the full length, in between maybe drop a couple singles here and there to kind of, feed the masses what they want, keep them interested, keep them entertained, and then just hit them at some point with just an awesome full-length album. And maybe in between, like you said, do some music videos and things like that. But definitely looking forward to the third single. I'm looking forward to what the music video is going to hold. And we got some other comments coming in here. Great shit. I agree. Great shit. And we're going to play that other song here in a couple minutes. But that's awesome. Now, do you guys have any other passions, any other strange things that you guys do aside from metal? I get some strange answers when I ask this question. I was talking to a band not too long ago, and I was like, what do you have as hobbies aside from here? And the one says, I am a professional fingerboarder. And I'm like, a fingerboarder? Like, I'm like the little finger skateboards? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, and you're a professional at this? He says, yeah, I go to competitions. I actually am quite known in the fingerboard realm. And he was being dead serious. I ended up finding out, like, he's really fucking good. And I'm like, okay, that's the most random thing I think I've ever heard. But as far as away from the band, what is it you guys have a passion in besides, metal?
On the side, like, I recently just graduated barber school, so when I'm not working on music, I'm cutting hair as much as I can and working the growing that a little bit so I can find making music a little bit easier.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. I wouldn't be a very good customer of yours because I'm bald, so there wouldn't be a whole lot you could do with me, but there definitely is a need for some good barbers out there. No, and there's good money in that, actually. So you can make very good money if you're in the right area and have a barbershop or work at a barbershop. And it seems like that's been a popular thing the last several years. I've seen several barbershops down here in Pittsburgh open up. There's like 4 on the south side alone. And they just opened up one literally a mile from my house, which I thought was a weird area to be in, but they just opened up a really nice barbershop and the fucking place is packed all the time.
Yep, it's definitely a growing industry. I'm never really dying out, so I figured jump in. Plus, there's some musicians who are also double as barbers that I've kind of noticed a correlation of.
Okay, so we got the barber heavy metal coalition. Interesting, an underground barber unit.
Yep.
Now, how about the other two of you? What is it you guys are into aside from metal?
I like to sleep a lot. Sleep's pretty cool. Dude's great.
I'm a professional sleeper.
Yeah.
I wish I don't get to sleep these days too often. So enjoy that sleep, because there might come a day in your life where there's just not a whole lot of it. Because I'll tell you what, between work, between my company and label, between my wife and kid, sleep doesn't really exist anymore, which I'm fine with. I don't need sleep. But yeah, sleep is nice. I at one point in time used to like it when I used to get it.
It's definitely a talent of its own. I'm thinking one day if I put in enough work, I might be able to go for that world record.
Okay. You know, the other day I got very ill when I slept for 12 hours straight, and I couldn't tell you the last time that I have done that. And I slept from 7 at night till 7 the next morning, but I mean, I had an extreme ear infection and sinus infection, and I woke up and I looked at the clock and it threw me off, and I'm like, holy shit, did I just sleep for 12 hours? Because I'm someone who gets like 5 hours of sleep at night, and it was incredible. So kudos to you. Get that sleep for me and you both, brother. We have someone leaving a comment saying, sleep is the cousin of death.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And Patrick from 9 Stitch Method said, definitely going to have to get these dudes on a show in 2020. And Patrick, I think you should get them on a show in 2020, as we will as a label, and I think you will as well.
Yeah, they're dope.
Oh, the great thing about them, and I put it out there because a lot of people have the same feeling I have the first time that I seen them. You see two guys walk out and they say that they're a metal band, and you say, okay, are you fucking with me right now? Like, there's a 2-piece metal band. Like, okay, this is going to fucking suck. These dudes are going to be a joke. And then they come out and blow your mind. And then you're like, okay, I don't know what's happening right now. It goes against anything that I ever thought could be possible. And the energy Patrick gives as a frontman, his vocal range, his skill and talent as a vocalist and a frontman is phenomenal. And Josh is a great guitar player. They work on programming their drums and programming the bass and the music behind it. So it's all very much them as a band. It's just you're seeing two of them perform live with the backtracks of things that they've created and had help created with other people that they work with. And like I said, at first you just kind of like, okay, this isn't going to be any good. And it's amazing. And they have done very well for themselves. And they're blowing up the fucking scene right now and doing some big things. So I'm certainly interested in booking you guys. But now you have Patrick interested in booking you as well. And Patrick does book shows. So I think your 2020 is going to look pretty eventful for you fellas.
Thank you.
Exactly what we're hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Witch Hunt is going to be everywhere. And we'll certainly help support that. Now, we're going to jump into this other song and let some people hear that, and then we'll come back and wrap up the last few questions here. Why don't either one of you, or actually any of the three of you, who wants to tell us about Tables Turned? I know that we said that this is a little bit more personable and personal to you guys, but why don't you tell us about Tables Turned and give us an interlude into it, and then we'll go ahead and take a break and listen.
The song itself deals a lot with rape and domestic abuse and stuff. And I know I assume I'm speaking for Brandon and Dan as well, have always weighed in very heavily on the matter because I have a lot of friends that have been affected by it, along with some of my best friends. And going in and recording it, it was very fucked up is how it timed out with one of the scenarios. So it really hits home, and I'm sure it hits home for a lot of people. And it
hit home for me, as well, just because I had family that dealt with this issue too, and it's just kind of like, what if we got a chance to get those guys who did this to them and tables on them, hence the name Tables Turned.
No, I dig it. It's certainly a big topic. And all jokes aside, because, I mean, obviously you're talking to Skippy Yickham, and some of my music's the most dark and fucking vile and rapey, crazy music you could ever hear. But as a person, absolutely agree with you guys 100%. It's not a joking manner or joking matter. It's not something that's funny or that should just be shunned or passed off. It's not a big deal. We live in a culture where rape culture has certainly become very, very popular. and that's unfortunate. And I have a lot of friends personally that have been affected by abuse and by rape and things of that nature. So I completely agree with you guys. As an artist, I do write some pretty dark and fucked up, disturbed stuff, as anybody knows. But as a person, completely against it. So it's a night and day difference between the two people, between Skippy Ickham and Garrett Jagaman. But I agree with what you guys said, and I'm very interested to let everybody hear what you put together for this specific piece. So we're going to take a break here, and we're going to play Tables Turn by Witch Hunt, and we'll be right back on Uncovering the Underground.
Another night she weaves herself to sleep on a new hell, intentions of a life to be a light. This terrible space and demise, these endless doors, what a surprise. Tie him up, break his red, break fucking skin. Salty eyes, watch your hands, lay yourselves again. But they stand, I can't stand, never sleep again. How can you look at yourself, how can you call yourself a man? Nothing but lies. Just a twist, but the chain beats. Apologize to why I'm straight. Tie him up, break his red, break his fucking skin. Salt the earth, watch it rip, the yourself sinking. But they stand, I can't stand, never sleep again. How can you look at yourself? How can you call yourself a man? Will anyone hear her cries? Make me a man now. Just got to use her. Innocence means nothing. Drag him deep into the abyss.
All right, and we are back on Uncovering the Underground radio show, and that was Tables Turn by the band Witch Hunt from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, metalcore, deathcore band that we've been interviewing for the last hour and 4 minutes. And I love that song. I love both songs, but that one I think shows a little bit of versatility as far as not only is it heavy, not only is it catchy, and it has a very good musicianship on it, but then you have the singing part that comes in, and then it kind of blends well with the screaming of the song, and it just gives you kind of an eerie effect that kind of just sticks with you. And I know the first time I heard it, it was one of those ones, as soon as I was done hearing it, and I actually can say that about both songs, but the first one I just listened to the second time back to back right after hearing it, because I'm like, damn, these dudes are dope. And I was kind of surprised. Like I said, wow, these guys came out with their first single, and it's killer. But when I heard Tables Turn for the first time, I listened to it a second time right afterwards, because I'm like, wow, I really dig this song. I love what they did. I love the blending of the vocals there. It's different, and it's something that I think is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Not catchable, because that's not really a word, but very has a lot of potential to catch on with a lot of people very quickly. So I think that's I think we need to get that out to the masses a little bit more, because I think that's the one that people are going to fall in love with. But very good work, gentlemen. I can't wait to see what you guys certainly do coming up. A question that I'm going to ask, one or two more, and then we'll go ahead and let you guys wrap up for the evening. But if you guys, and we'll ask each of you individually, starting with Dan, if you guys could have back all of the time that you put into your music, whether it's writing lyrics, whether in Dan's case it's writing bass, whether it's anything in the genre of music, all the time, passion, and effort that you put into your craft, if you could have it back, what is the one other thing that you would put it into?
Making. That's always been another thing that's interested me. Acting and producing and that kind of deal.
Okay, very interesting. It's a great thing to be in. I've done some acting and done some film and stuff, or helped out with film before, and I love it. I think it's fun. No, that's something I would personally pick up and do, because I'm retarded and I couldn't do that. But I'm the first person to tell you, like, I love it. I can help out all day, but as far as film editing, nope, not happening. I'm not that good on the techie side, but it is a lot of fun. I mean, it's great to put together. Like my music videos, I have a lot of music videos out, and they're pretty well put together, and I love being a part of that thing. That to me was as fun as writing the album, writing the songs that are on the album. I mean, that was one of my favorite things I can do, is putting together the music videos.
Yeah.
Now, would you be, you're saying more on the acting side, or are you saying specifically directing and editing and producing the film?
Either writing or acting.
Okay. Awesome. No, I like it. Now, how about you, Hunter? What would you put your time into?
Oh my, I would probably put it more into spending time with like my friends and family, or even just myself, because I find myself neglecting all those things more than I should be. And even though to me it's worth it, because sitting in my room for hours on end listening and trying to write music is worth it to me, a lot of other people don't really understand, and I feel like it's unfair to them at times.
Okay. Understandable. And then lastly, Brandon, how about yourself?
Kind of piggybacking off of what Dan said, but I would try, if I could put more time into something else, like kind of into this, I would probably do more like kind of like writing like scores for like horror movies, and try to like maybe like write horror movies, because I used to do haunted houses around the Pittsburgh area for a little bit.
Okay. Awesome. No, that's a fun passion too. Is I've dabbled a little bit. I started writing a book in the horror realm, and it's actually pretty good. Just unfortunately, there's just not a lot of time in life to do every single thing that you want to do. So sometimes you have to stick things in the back burner. But writing, whether it be short scripts for films, whether it be books, whether it be anything in the horror realm, something I've always had a passion in. Obviously, that's why I started the Gruesome Gazette. Even though I don't write for it, I have some great writers that do reviews on it, and I always wanted to be able to still produce and put out a lot of good horror content for fans, because it's a great genre to be in. So that's awesome that you have a passion in that as well.
Thank you.
And we have some comments coming in saying, that was fresh as fuck. I loved that hook. So that's awesome. You got people loving it, and I'm sure that is AJ's first time hearing you guys. So there you go. You got an instant fan there. And then Patrick put, I remember when the first song dropped, I got a hold of him at work. And yeah, I do actually remember that, Patrick. Yeah, so me and Patrick talk a lot. He's a good friend of mine. And first time I heard your guys' single, I sent it to Patrick like 5 minutes later. And I'm like, bro, listen to this. And he checked it out. And he's like, wow, these guys are good. Who is this? And I started talking to him about it. And he's like, wow, I really like this. And he just got done saying, as long as you guys keep your eyes on the prize, you guys are going places. And that's the exact same thing I said earlier. So if you guys can stay together, stay focused, get 2 other great members, and you can really keep pushing it and doing what you guys are already doing, keeping that formula, I think the world is yours, gentlemen. So keep doing what you're doing. And then the song was haunting but hummable. And I agree, it does kind of make you hum to it. Like you're kind of humming the hook to it the first time you hear it. You're not even done with the song yet, and you're kind of humming that singing part behind it, that melody, and you're like, all right, I like it. And that's what makes you listen the second time, because I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna haunt me tonight for a while. So you have to hit that play button again, and that's the quality of a good song, is whenever you can haunt someone's mind, and whether they want to listen to it or not, it's just stuck in their head forever.
Hey, that's kind of what we go for.
That's what you should go for. I agree. Now, last question, and then we're going to let you guys go ahead and tell us who you want to thank, where we can check out your music, and we'll wrap up for the night. Let's see. What do I want to ask you? If you had to pick, what is your number one regret so far in music that you don't necessarily regret that it happened or that you did it because it's a learning experience, but you would never do it again? And I get on this question, to kind of give you some background, I get some people saying, trusting too many people off the bat came back to bite me in the ass, or not taking it seriously for the first several years and wasted a big chunk of time that I could have used to be more productive. All kinds of different answers of what is the one thing that you've done that you're saying, wow, I really regret doing it, but I wouldn't change it because it made me into who I am today. And we'll start this one out with you, Brandon, then we'll go to Hunter, and then we'll go to Dan. Brandon, what would be the number one thing that you say, wow, I wish I wouldn't have had to learn the way that I did, but I'm not going to change it because it made me who I am?
I'd probably say back when, because I've been trying to get into music even 2 years, but it's opportunities kept falling through, and I just kind of, between that and people saying, oh, you can't do vocals, you can't do this, kind of got me down for a little bit right off the bat, and but it did me more than I probably should have. But I also I turned that into motivation to hone my skills, work, and I had like one of my best friends teach me like how he learned his vocals, and just piggyback off of that and just worked my ass off for 2 years to get where I'm at now. So I kind of regret letting that criticism get to me right off the bat. But granted, I was also younger back then.
That's great though. You look back on it now and you know that it made you into who you are, as you said, and it's great when people try to tell you what you can and can't do. You can't be a vocalist, you can't be this, you can't be that. Garrett, you can't be a rapper. Well, how'd that work out for you, folks? Because I think it's gone pretty well for me. I've certainly established quite an empire off of what people told me never would or could happen. So I'm glad that you certainly stuck with it and you're proving them wrong. That's when you inbox them, tables turned at like 2 o'clock in the morning on like Christmas Eve and say, bitch, and that's all you say. And it's just that. It's just the link to the song. That's how you shut a hater up. So hopefully your haters are sitting back envious right now, and I'm glad to see that you were able to continue to push forward. Now, how about you, Hunter? What's the number one thing that you look back on and say, damn, I really learned a lesson from that. I wish I didn't have to the way that I did, but it is what it is.
Honestly, it was probably trying to work with people my own age, because they're all fuckheads. And even when they were trying to be serious about it, we were mocked by a specific band that we've had troubles with too. But so we were constantly mocked, and then it got to the point where the guitarist literally did a line of pills off of a drum head while me and the drummer went to the bathroom to converse about how weird he was being. And that's when I realized that I should not have associated with them. And I totally cut them out, and I've known these guys like not even half as long as I knew them. We got like way further because we only had like 4 band practices with them.
Yeah, you have to learn to stay clear You need to learn who to cut, who's the dead weight, who isn't going to benefit you in any way. They might seem like, okay, they're my friend or this and that, or there's potential here, but you have to learn and spot the dead weight and cut it out of your life, because if you don't, it's toxic. It'll poison the water, and once the water's poisoned, there's no going back. So it's good to disassociate yourself, especially with people your own age. Normally I wouldn't say that, but I mean, with your age, you are obviously much younger, so it is hard for you, especially, to find someone in your age group that's going to take it seriously and have as much conviction and as much dedication as you're going to have. So it's great that you found some guys that are a little bit older that have that, and that you guys have created what you have. So that's kudos to you on that. And then lastly, Dan, why don't you finish us out here on the last part of this question? What is it for you?
Probably not starting sooner and taking it as seriously as I should have. I've been in a lot of failed projects over the years, especially during the early days of me wanting to get involved in this. So I wish that I would have put more time and resources towards bettering my craft and getting to the place where I wanted to be.
Absolutely. I mean, I can understand that completely. I kind of feel that myself. I started pretty young, but I feel there were several years there where I could have, got started sooner than I did, that I kind of just kept to myself and played guitar in my room for hours and hours on end. So I was still in the scene, but I wasn't out playing in a band when I should have been. I should have started years sooner. But, I guess the question would be to the three of you now, despite all of those things that you just mentioned to me, are the three of you happy where you're at right now?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but I also feel like if we get too happy, that would be where we fall.
Well, yeah, you never want to. Don't get cocky. Don't get too happy. But I mean, right now, knowing despite everything you faced in your life, all the different things and trials and tribulations that you've had, listening to the 2 singles that you guys have created and put out, knowing that where you plan to take this band, are the three of you happy?
Yeah,
definitely.
And that's all. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear. That's absolutely all that matters. And I think, like I said, you guys are going to do great. So to finish us out, why don't you guys tell us where we can check out your music, where we can check out your pages, and where to follow you and like you at. And then you guys can, together or individually, tell us who you would like to thank, and then we'll go ahead and close out.
Okay, you can get both singles, Finette and Tables Turned, on all streaming platforms, Google Play, Apple Music, Spotify.
And TikTok.
Pirate Bay, TikTok. All that good stuff. We have a Facebook page. You can follow us at Witch Hunt. Instagram under the same name.
Witch Hunt PGH.
Witch Hunt PGH. My bad. And we'd like to thank our producer, Josh Mateotek, for helping us establish and bring our vision to life over these last couple of months. He's been a very big help to us.
And Rory Waters, he's been a good friend of ours throughout this whole process.
Featured on our first single, and I also want to shout out our two friends who did our artwork, Devin, who did the first one, Finette, and our good friend Rachel, who did Tables Turn. Both talented artists, definitely.
Hit all of them up. They're very talented.
Also, check out the boys in Bacchusura.
Perfect. I like it. Yeah, I'm sorry, you were cutting back. You cut out a little bit. You were saying something else to that?
Which part?
You said you want to have everybody check out your friends in the other band, and then it cut out. And then you started to say something else again. I didn't hear you at first.
Bacchusura, they're pretty dope. They're good friends of ours. They're on the show we're playing in March.
Okay, yeah. If I'm not doing anything, I might try to swing out and see you guys. It just depends on what's going on at that time period. But if I'm free that night, I would definitely love to come out and see your guys start into the scene.
Okay, cool.
Appreciate it.
Thursday, March 12th at Mr. Roboto.
Okay, keep me posted. One of you guys send me a message ahead of time, and I'll see what I got going on and see if I can swing it.
Okay, cool.
Thank you very much for having us.
Hey, no problem. Well, it was nice having you guys on the show. Fans out there listening, if you liked what you heard tonight, make sure you go to the links that they just told you, like their pages, follow their pages, and share their pages. Pick up each of the 2 singles, Finit Hictus and Tables Turned by Witch Hunt. Support them in their journey to not only grow more as a band and as artists, but to obviously get to the point where they do start to tour and do much, much bigger things. Your help will help get them there. It helps more than you know. So please support these guys. Let us know what you thought of them. You can leave us a comment on Spreaker. You can hit me up personally. Or as always, if you have anything that you want to tell us, what you thought of them tonight, suggestions for the shows, things you'd like to see us do differently, things you'd like to see us not do, whatever it might be, feel free to drop me a line at brutalbusinessent@gmail.com. Again, that is brutalbusinessent@gmail.com. I answer you daily, so you never have to worry about not getting an answer back. Every single person gets messaged. And make sure you stick around for all of our other great episodes. We have one more episode of Uncovering the Underground in 2019. Next week, we have Grim. Grim is the Magic Ninja Entertainment winner of their rap contest this year. Great underground hip-hop artist. We're going to be bringing him on the show, picking his brain a little bit. That'll finish us out for 2019. And then January of 2020, we have a slew of interviews. I think we have 8 Covering the Underground episodes in January, along with 3 Celestial Oddities. So we'll be bringing you 11 radio show episodes in January and much, much more. I want to thank all the fans that have been supporting me this year in this journey and all of our artists. We have so much more coming your way. It's been a great year of 2019, and we look forward to an even bigger and better year in 2020. And we love you guys, and thank you for your support. Witch Hunt, we want to thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the show tonight, and I look forward to everything you guys have to release.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks. Well, we'll catch you next time on Uncovering the Underground, and we'll see you next Thursday to finish out the year. Everyone have a safe and wonderful evening, and everybody have a safe and wonderful holidays. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, guys. We'll catch you next time.